All right, it is arm day. Might do a little cardio video after the fact. We'll see. We will see. But arm day, buys, tries, probably some forearms. Pretty hyped. One thing that I wanted to kind of get into right away as far as the pre-workout discussion goes is sugar intake. Now, I'm not talking about carb intake. I'm talking about literal, like powdery, granulated sugar intake. Carbs is a good thing. You know, your breads, your pastas. Maybe not breads and pastas, you know, all the time as main source of carbs, but, you know, rice, sweet potatoes, those kinds of things. Things that your body actually has to, like, digest, break down. That's a slow release of carbohydrates into your bloodstream as it gradually gets digested throughout the day. Things that you really don't want to overindulge in are, you know, ice cream, candy, chocolate, that kind of thing. Sugar, soda, high sugar juices or teas, you know. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm on a bulk, and I get it. I know what it's like. You go on a bulk, you've been cutting for a while, time to gain some weight, time to indulge in eating the things that you otherwise couldn't eat or indulge in when you were dieting, when you were cutting. And I sympathize with that. You know, some of you guys who might have been watching me for a while now know that no one loves donuts, especially before a workout, especially after a workout, than me. All right? But even donuts, you know, even if it's drenched in icing, is still a little bit better than, you know, chocolate and candy and that kind of thing, ice cream. The reason why you want to stay away from these, you know, hyper concentrated, pure forms of sugar is because it's going to spike your blood sugar. Now, you might be hearing me say that, and it might be obvious to you. And okay, if it's obvious to you, then good. Following along with the rest of this conversation should be easy for you then. But listen very closely to what I'm about to teach you. When your blood sugar spikes, a couple of things can happen. When your blood sugar spikes, your pancreas immediately goes to work to try and fix the situation by releasing a bunch of insulin. So you're going to experience a spike in blood sugar. You might get a temporary rush of energy. You might even get, like, you know, a little bit of a pump going on. But then what's going to happen is that insulin's going to go to work, and it's going to bring your blood sugar down very quickly. And in a lot of cases, you're going to experience a sugar crash, okay? A sugar crash is going to affect your energy, and it's going to affect your mood. And both of these things are very important when it comes to working out, staying motivated in the gym, getting your lifts done effectively. But another way that sugar affects you is when you experience these intermittent spikes, these intermittent increases, temporary increases in blood sugar. It's very inflammatory, okay? Inflammation is not ideal when it comes to recovery after the gym. When you work out and you tear your muscles, you break your muscles down on a microscopic level so that they'll heal stronger and larger. Your body immediately post-workout, within the first like hour or 2 hours, something like that, I forget what the science is, begins to heal your body. But if your body goes into a state of inflammation other than that of what you've occurred from the damage of working out, like with a spike in blood sugar, your body's going to be preoccupied with immediately resolving that cause of inflammation. So, with that being said, eating things like really sugary stuff, not temporarily, but I'm talking about pretty regularly, like on a daily basis, more than 2 to 3 times a day, is going to inhibit your healing and your recovery. I know in a lot of cases you think it's going to help it. It's not. It's not going to help your recovery. Now, if you eat something that's high in sugar within an hour or so before working out, it might help you, give you a little rush of calories, get a sick pump going on, give you a little extra energy with your pre-workout. That's really not that bad, provided you're working out hard enough to actually work it off. But in the event that your pancreas is incapable of effectively secreting or releasing enough insulin to bring down your blood sugar within a decent amount of time, and your blood sugar remains elevated beyond what is medically ideal, that blood sugar will then begin to adhere to the walls of your arteries, of your blood vessels. And that is how you form blockages. It's how you form what's called atherosclerosis. Sorry, that's a hard word for me to pronounce, but look it up. Atherosclerosis. Basically a plaque buildup in the arteries. A lot of people like to blame cholesterol, but if you're working out hard enough to the point where you actually break down your body and your body needs to utilize cholesterol in order to heal, and your hormones are balanced and everything, you know, you should be fine as far as cholesterol goes. But it is blood sugar that's going to cause these plaque buildups, which eventually can lead to heart disease, as the arteries that feed the heart muscle gradually become blocked with plaque from overconsumption of blood sugar. This fucking garbage truck is going to cut me off. That's great. So keep that in mind when you're indulging on your bulk or your cheat meal or whatever with really sugary things. Try to keep it at a minimum, okay? Another thing, too, is you'll notice a lot of people when they go on a bulk and they just throw caution to the wind as far as like what they eat. Unless they're on a shit ton of gear or hormones, growth, whatever, their face gets really inflamed, really puffy. That's because of the inflammatory properties of this refined sugar that I'm talking to you about. Now stay with me here. When people drink alcohol and they get hungover because of the effects that alcohol has on your nervous system and how dehydrating it is, it's the same exact phenomenon when you indulge in high sugary products or foods on a regular basis. Your face will get puffy, similar to that of an alcoholic. Not quite severe, of course, but similar to. You'll be fatigued. And another thing, too, is if your pancreas is incapable of getting your blood sugar under control within a reasonable amount of time, the alternative compensating mechanism that your body enacts to try and get blood sugar under control is to have your kidneys filter out the excess blood sugar, and you end up pissing out the excess sugar in your urine. That's why diabetics that have uncontrolled blood sugar, their urine tastes sweet. All right, historically speaking, monks back in the, I think it's 17 and 1800s, and probably as early as the early 1900s, a method of diagnosing people with diabetes is they would taste their hyperglycemia, high blood sugar in diabetics, is they would taste their urine, and if it tasted sweet, then they would know it's because there's excess sugar in the urine that was unable to be kept under control by the pancreas, because diabetics have, either a pancreas that excretes ineffective insulin, not enough insulin, or no insulin at all. So anyways, be very mindful of how much sugar you are eating on a daily basis. Now, I will say that if you're an individual with a significant amount of muscle mass, then you may be able to afford to eat more refined sugar than someone with less muscle mass, because those muscles are constantly in a state of, are almost constantly in a state of glycogen deprivation. It's actually very hard to constantly keep the muscles full of an adequate amount of sugar and water. That's not to be said that it's difficult to have muscles with sugar and water. I said it's difficult to have your muscles completely around the clock, 24/7, optimally full with carbohydrates and sugar. So if you have an excess of muscle, you may be able to get away with eating these refined sugars at a larger amount for a longer period of time. But make no mistake, it'll eventually catch up to you one way or another. So that's my rant, my pre-workout rant. I'm not saying don't eat refined sugars. I'm just saying don't let refined sugars replace true carbohydrates like, your breads, your pastas, your potatoes, your rices, that kind of thing. What are some other good means of carbohydrates? I feel like there's one. You guys are probably screaming right now the answer, but I can't think of it. Rice, potatoes, bread, pasta, fruit. Fruit's a good one. It's certainly better than chocolate and candy bars, donuts like me. So yeah. Speaking of pre-workout, I did have my pump potion, the Blood Red electrolytes, pre-workout, and creatine, and I'm feeling pretty damn good. Do you want to know why I'm feeling pretty good? Do you want to know why I'm talking about sugar right now? It's because yesterday I did a kind of a 24-hour break from refined sugar. I didn't stop altogether because I did have some of those chocolate-covered peanut butter frozen banana treats from the grocery store yesterday after my workout. Just some, not a lot. And then I had some actual real carbs, some rice, some bread. So I just thought I'd share that with you guys because I feel so much better today than I did yesterday. I think I look a little bit better too as far as puffiness and inflammation goes. Another thing as far as puffiness and inflammation goes, don't want to talk about it now, or should I save that for a different discussion? I think I'm going to save that for a different discussion because now we are at the gym. We're going to go get our workout in.